Today, I am ranking my top 7 small box games for solo play, right? So this is games like Friday here that are a bit smaller, maybe a little bit better, bigger, like McKee, and maybe a little bit bigger than that. But yeah, these are just my favorite games based on, how much I enjoy playing them and the replayability. Those two are not on this list. The games are good and they're fine, but they're just not on this list. So let's dive into the first game on our list, number 7, and that is Micro City. This is the second edition. And basically, you're an engineer and you're trying to build your city, right? Kind of how it sounds. So you're building structures, and you'll pay for it with different materials that you've collected. And you have a certain set of rounds in which to do it. It's a pretty quick game. It's got several different buildings you have to build. It's got several different modes, right? You would call them. It's some dice rolling. It's some hand management. The board's completely modular, which is really cool. It's a fun little game. The gameplay can get a little repetitive sometimes, and that's probably my biggest gripe with it. But it's good. It's really good. It's really fun. It's really interesting. And like I said, for me, with small box, it works perfectly. So that's number 7. Number 6 is the biggest box of them all, and that is Under Falling Skies. And this is basically Space Invader, right, in a board game. So it is a dice rolling modular board kind of thing going on here. It got a whole campaign, which I think is pretty interesting. I like the campaign and how it works. I like that they were able to do the Space Invader mechanic really well. Like it's really kind of fun in the way it works. But yeah, it's just, if you were to play one game, it plays pretty quick. If you play the whole campaign, it takes a bit longer. I'm not really sure how long they say it should last. I guess 20 to 40 minutes. Yeah, I was going to say about half an hour is probably what most of my games were. So it's pretty good. It's a little bit on the bigger side. So I think it pushes what I would call small box games moving forward. But it's definitely fun, especially if you can find it on sale, because it seems to go on sale a lot. So number 5 is probably one of my favorite games for small boxes, and I just haven't played it in a while, and I need to. And I think once I do, it'll get better with that. But that is Black Sonata. Now, this game is a hidden movement deduction game, and to this day, it blows my mind that they were able to do that for solo. I mean, it's just kind of amazing in my opinion. But basically, it's a Shakespearean game. I love Shakespeare as a topic. I love his works, and you're after Shakespeare's shadow lady, right? And so you're trying to find her around. You're moving different pieces around, and the way you have to construct a deck in a certain way, and you go through it a certain way. I don't know how they do it. Like, to this day, I still don't fully understand how the game works. Like, I know how to play it, but I don't understand how they were able to do this. It's so cool. It's so unique and so much fun. I know they came out with an expansion for it, and I think I played like once. I need to more, but it's such a great game. It's so much fun. I really, really recommend it, especially for people that want something that's truly unique and different. It's one of the games I recommend the most. So anyway, that's number 5. Number 4 is, it's Chip Theory Games, right? I love Chip Theory Games. They're one of my favorite board game companies, and this is their one major small box game, and that is Trip Lock. Now, this is a memory-based game, which I thought was always kind of cool. Basically, you're trying to trip a lock, I guess, but there's different cards with locks on it that you have to match, and there's a set of chips out in front of you, and they're hidden. So you have to manipulate those chips. You have to flip them around, and then when you get the right lock, you uncover them to see if you did the right thing, right? It's really, really cool. It's mostly, like I said, it's mostly a memory game. There is a bit of dice rolling and some other small stuff in it. There's a bunch of different characters, and each of the characters have like little abilities and little things they can do differently, which is pretty cool too. But really, really boil this down for me, it's a memory-based game. And I think that's pretty cool. There's not a lot of memory games out there, it seems, anymore. So I really enjoy that one, and I really hope they support it sometime. I know it was like one of their biggest selling games, but I still really like it, so I hope they support it. Anyway, number 3 is probably the hardest game on this list, and I don't know if I've ever won in like a year or so of playing it. And I play a lot of it, and that is Mageling. Now, Mageling, I think you're supposed to do like whole 5 scenarios and whatever. I don't think I've ever beaten scenario 1. But the mechanics of it are really fun, right? So it's a dice rolling game where you're trying to get basically you get like energy or whatever the resource is, and you're trying to save this tree. So you can get more cards in your collection. Those cards kind of build off of each other, and they build basically combos. It's really kind of cool. It's a lot of dice chucking. It's a lot of dice rolling, and using the dice in the right way. Again, to use it as resources to either save for a future turn or to get these cards, which like make your dice rolls or whatever else more powerful, which is really cool. And then each round, this tree is losing life, and as it loses life, then it dies, and it's not good, right? You don't want that to happen. So it's a pretty unique game. It's pretty fun, but like I said, it's painful in how hard it is. It is super hard. So it's one of those games. I think if you're supposed to play all the way through, it takes like an hour. Because I never made it all the way through. I can lose in about 15 minutes, so that's something. But it is a really enjoyable game. It might fall down my list a little bit just because I can't win. I can't win on it, or I need to make it easier or something. But anyway, that's number 3. Number 2, I think one day this game is going to move up more, and that is Spire's End. I love this game. This is a adventure dice rolling type game. Basically you start, you have a set of heroes that can do different abilities, and they manipulate the dice rolls and stuff like that. But basically it's almost like a D&D adventure is how I kind of put it. It's like a D&D adventure. It's simpler though. It's not as like sprawling, but there are choices you make throughout the game. So like you finish up a card, and then you either go to card A or card B, right? And then that can branch out into different pathways, and that can branch out in different pathways. And there's several different answers, I believe, or endings, not answers. Several different endings to it. So it's kind of cool. And there's, I think, only like 6 chapters technically, so there are breaks that you can take throughout it. But it's really fun. It's really fun. There is a lot of dice rolling in it, which is like, I guess, the one downside of the game. If you don't like chucking a lot of dice, this might not be for you. But the artwork on it's gorgeous. The gameplay is fun. It's got, like I said, decent breaks in it, so that you don't have to try to complete the whole thing in one night. Though you can, I have, but it does take a while. But it's fun. It's just a straight up fun game. I like that kind of choose your own adventure type style games. Again, it's not super sprawling in the sense that like there's like 10 different options of what to choose from. There's only a handful, but it's really good. And they're coming out with a standalone sequel. I don't think they work with each other from how I understand it, but Spire's End Hildegard is coming out soon, and I cannot wait. That game, I think it might become my favorite game. I absolutely love Spire's End, but Hildegard looks fantastic. It looks really good. So really quick, before we go into number 1, I want to do 2 games that I haven't played a ton of, and I think when I play more of them, I think they will end up on this list at some point. But I just want to point them out because I've only had like a couple plays of each of these. The first one is Age of Civilization. It's basically a Civ game, right? It's a Civ game, but it's a small box Civ game, and it works really well. Like most of the Civ games you play are really big and they're sprawling and they take forever, and this is the pocket-sized version of it, right? You can play it pretty quick. It doesn't take that long. I mean, it's about half an hour for the game. It's a lot of fun. The rules for me were a little tough, or I just had a hard time understanding that time. But I really like Civ games as well. So the idea of being able to play it quickly is really cool. But like I said, I've only played it like 3 times, but it was fun. I enjoyed it all 3 times. Another one I want to point out that I just got somewhat recently is Bandada. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. But it's basically it's a card game with more dice rolling. And the idea of it's that you're taking photos of birds, right? That game I played twice so far. It has gorgeous artwork on it. I mean, it's absolutely gorgeous. But it's a fun game. It's a fun little solo game. Basically you tally scores at the end after you take certain photos and whatnot. It's a fun game. Like I said, I've only played it like 2, maybe 3 times. I need to play more of it, but it is a good solo game. So, all right, my number 1 game, and it's been my number 1 game for a while. And like I said, I think the only thing that might knock it off right now is Hildegard, assuming it's everything I think it will be. But my number 1 game, I got the expansion. I still haven't played the expansion much, but the original is so fantastic. And that is Set a Watch. This is the deluxe edition box, so it looks a little bit different. That's what the normal one looks like. So this game has I think it's a standalone sequel, but you can mix and match the Swords of a Coin expansion to it. So this game is a lot of dice rolling, and you're basically controlling 4 characters, right? I do not like games where you have to control multiple characters. I really don't. There's a game called Darkest Night that does this, and it's a good solo game, but you have to control 4 different characters. It always felt lazy to me, like they didn't scale it properly, because you either had to like do the whole turn with one character, the whole turn with another character, whatever. With this game, though, because of the way it's allowed to work, where one character can take a turn here and then another one, like they interact, I guess I should say, better with each other. It's quicker gameplay. The way you move through it is pretty cool. It feels like a bit of more of a puzzle that you're kind of trying to solve. Like, okay, this enemy that just came up has X amount of life. What's the most efficient way to get rid of this enemy while not using like a stronger attack than needed? Because if we use that, then we're wasting it for a future turn. Like, it's really kind of cool how it's set up, and it works pretty fast. And like, you use the box as the game board, which is, I don't know, I know it's kind of gimmicky, but it's cool. Like, it's a cool gimmick. But yeah, it's a really fun game. It's really enjoyable. It's one of those games that I got at the last second because I didn't know if I would actually like it. There's, I think, a few small expansions for it, and they really add a bit to the game. But yeah, it's a fun game. It's really, really, really fun. And like I said, I don't like games where you play 4 characters essentially, right, by yourself. But this does it well. It does it really, really well. It's a fun puzzle and how it works. And you also, for one of the characters, you have to figure out if you're resting one of them. So there's more to it than what I'm just saying, right? You have to rest one so you don't have them for that round, and then everyone's got to rest twice. It's really cool. It's really fun. I highly recommend it. So anyway, that's just a quick video of my top 7 board games. Let me know what some of your favorite small box solo games are. I really love this genre of gaming. I think it's really cool. It's fun to take on for travel and whatnot. And if you enjoyed this video, do me a huge favor, scroll down a bit, hit the like button, hit subscribe. It really helps me out. And like I said, leave me a comment down below, and I appreciate it.